So I have chosen to do my interview of a leader on a boss that I had from an internship last year, and he's the CEO of a company. It's an identity theft protection company. And so I'm doing this video to kind of tell you my results and share with you what I learned from the interview that I did with him. So his name is Drew, and he is the CEO of a company, like I mentioned, and he is also a family friend. So I kind of know a little bit about his story, but I really wanted to know more. And I got to work with him last summer. I was an intern at his company, and so I got to see how great of a leader he is. So when we heard about this program, about how I was supposed to make this video, I just thought of him. So I will review the questions that I asked him and his answers, and then kind of explain to you what I learned from the interview. Um, so one of the questions I asked him is, how do you define leadership? And he said, leadership is the ability to have an objective mind and then identify and rally necessary people to get it done efficiently. I thought this was a really cool answer because it kind of incorporates everything that I feel like a leader is and a leader's job is, and so that was just kind of like reaffirmed what I had thought. I asked him if he modeled his leadership off of anyone specifically, and he didn't have anybody like a mentor or a leader that he specifically said that he, made his leadership off of. But he mentioned how there's a big difference for him between managers and leaders, and how leaders inspire people and they have the vision for the company, and managers are day-to-day stuff. And how you know, he worked for the corporate side of Taco Bell in his early years after college, and he had a great leader who was actually able to change the industry, and so he got to witness that, and so he did learn definitely some leadership aspects from that he took on into his career later on. And he also learned from this leader that great leaders serve well. So from his boss at Taco Bell, he learned about servant leadership, which I'll talk about in a minute. So then I asked him, do you believe you've been successful because of your leadership skills? And he said that part of his success has to do with his education. He went to Stanford for his undergrad and Harvard for his MBA, so he's got lots of wonderful education, and his passion for learning definitely helped him as well. He also discussed something that really hit me. An important aspect of being a leader is being able to bridge the gap between the business side and the emotions of what people need. So something that he talked about as being the CEO and the leader of his company is that it's really important for him to be communicating with his employees and making sure that they have what they need as employees, but also as people. If they need a day off here or there, or if they need just understanding if something's going on, but also, what do you need for work? Do you need a different computer? Are you capable of doing your job the best to your ability? Are we enabling that? So I think that was really important that I saw from the interview. And he also mentioned, so he hates day-to-day management, but that's okay because everyone has their strengths, and his strength happens to be casting vision for the company and just giving everybody inspiration to work hard and move forward. And so, managers and leaders alike are very important, and you need both. So then I also asked him if he's ever failed as a leader, and he mentioned that if he's not failing, then he's not leading. So taking small chances but constantly striving to get better is really important, and by failing you find things that don't work. So obviously you don't want to fail in like huge ways if at all possible, but and he also mentioned that you want to fail often but not in the same way repeatedly. So if you're failing often but learning things from the situation, it's good, but if you're not, that's probably a bad sign. And then we also talked about the contributing factor to him being a good leader, and he mentioned a lot of his employees and how he's really involved in the hiring situation to make sure that the employees are teachable and that he's able to lead them well. So I thought that was really interesting. And I also asked him a question that we've been talking about in the class a lot about, do you believe people are born leaders? And he said, no, people are born with skill sets that make them a leader, but I think a lot of leaders are created through giving people situations and opportunities to lead. And he just mentioned how important real-world experience is. And also talked about his education as well, and how education is so important to being a good leader. And then I asked him what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a leader of a company? And he said, have as much broad exposure to as many areas as possible. And so that kind of stuck with me. And he also talked about servant leadership and how that's really important to him. He believes that, for servant leadership, having people that feel supported and empowered are able to get the job done the best. So I think the three things that I took away from what he said is that different leadership styles work for different people. So, servant leadership might not be my thing, but it's his. There's no one correct leadership style. Next, I really took to heart what he said about bridging the gap between understanding what your employees as workers and as people, because I think that's really important. Lastly, something that he said that I have implemented in my own life is that if you want to be a CEO, which is one of the highest forms of leadership, obviously, is it's important to know a wide variety of things about business. So I think there are many things to learn from Drew, and I'm very grateful that he was willing to talk with me and impart some of his knowledge, and I hope you've learned something as well.